The afternoon rain came without warning, the way grief does. In the basement laundry room of the Rockwell estate, a sound cuts through the rhythmic tumble of industrial dryers, a child's frightened whimper, barely audible beneath the thunder that shakes the mansion's ancient windows. Maya Santos, hired just 3 days ago to polish silver and fold sheets for Connecticut's most prominent tech dynasty, isn't supposed to be here. She certainly isn't supposed to notice the 6-year-old girl who hasn't spoken since her mother's funeral, now curled behind the machines with her hands pressed tight against her ears. But Maya doesn't walk away. She doesn't call for help or try to coax the child out with practiced platitudes. Instead, she does something that will change everything. She sits down on the cold concrete floor and begins folding towels. No words, no expectations, just presence, and the quiet hum of a Mexican lullaby her own dead brother used to love. 20 minutes later, Ivy Rockwell inches forward and watches Maya's hands transform a simple washcloth into a rabbit, then a swan, then a fox. Above them, in a studio filled with his late wife's unfinished paintings, Dominic Rockwell sits paralyzed by a grief so consuming he can barely look at the newborn son whose birth cost him everything. He doesn't know yet that the young woman folding laundry in his basement is about to teach his broken family something his father's billions never could. That healing doesn't come from hiring the right expert or maintaining proper appearances. It comes from someone brave enough to sit on the floor with you in the dark. Stay with us to witness how the most unlikely connection between a grieving widower and the maid his family would never accept became the foundation for a family rebuilt not by replacing what was lost, but by having the courage to create something entirely new. This is the story of what happens when love refuses to respect the boundaries society draws. The gravel driveway crunches beneath tires like broken promises. Dominic Rockwell sits in the back of his father's car, holding his daughter against his chest while she sleeps, or pretends to. Ivy has mastered the art of stillness in the 3 weeks since her mother's funeral. She's 6 years old and hasn't spoken since the moment they lowered Charlotte into the ground. Through the window, the Rockwell estate looms against the late September sky. Dominic grew up in this Greenwich mansion, this monument to his father's empire, but it's never felt less like home. The east wing windows glow with warm light, his father's efficiency at work, preparing spaces, hiring staff, solving problems the way Edmund Rockwell solves everything, with money and strategic planning. "We're here, sir." The driver's voice is gentle. He's been with the family for 12 years. He drove Dominic to the hospital the night Charlotte died. He drove them to the funeral. Now this. Dominic shifts Ivy in his arms. She weighs nothing. Or maybe he's simply gone numb to weight, to sensation, to everything except the hollow ache where his heart used to be. Edmund's assistant waits at the door, holding an infant carrier. Inside, 3-week-old Lucas sleeps, oblivious to the fact that his arrival cost them everything. Dominic can't look at him. Inside, the house smells like lemon polish and fresh flowers. His father's attempt at warmth. Edmund himself appears in the foyer, 62 and commanding in cashmere and calculation. "Dominic, good. I've prepared the east wing. 2 nurses for Lucas, 24-hour coverage. Mrs. Pemberton comes highly recommended. She's with Ivy now, setting up her room." Ivy's room is upstairs, her old room. Dominic's voice sounds like gravel. "That's the children's wing from when you were young. The east wing is more practical for..." "Her room is upstairs." They stare at each other. Edmund's jaw tightens, but he nods. Small mercies. Dominic carries Ivy up the curved staircase, past family portraits that no longer include everyone who matters. Her room looks exactly as it did 6 months ago, before Charlotte's pregnancy became complicated, before the emergency C-section, before the world split in two. Her stuffed animals wait on the bed. Her art supplies sit on the desk by the window. He lays her down gently. Her eyes open. She wasn't sleeping after all. And meet his. They're Charlotte's eyes, dark and artistic and currently drowning in something he has no tools to fix. "I'm here," he whispers, because it's the only true thing he can offer. "I'm right down the hall." She doesn't respond, just turns toward the wall. Downstairs, Lucas screams. Dominic sits outside Ivy's door, listening to his newborn son cry in some distant wing of the house. He should go to him. He's the father. But his legs won't move. His body won't cooperate. He's drowning on dry land while efficient strangers handle his children's needs with practiced competence. Footsteps approach. Mrs. Pemberton, crisp and professional in her navy uniform. "Mr. Rockwell, your daughter is calling out." Dominic's head snaps up. "She spoke?" "No, sir. She's screaming. Night terror, I suspect." Inside the room, Ivy's shrieks pierce the night. Dominic stumbles to his feet, but Mrs. Pemberton is already through the door, already handling it, already doing what he cannot. He slides down the wall outside his daughter's room and listens to a stranger comfort his child. Downstairs, his father makes phone calls about estate management and trust funds. In the East Wing, his son cries for a mother who will never come. And Dominic sits paralyzed, failing everyone, drowning in a grief so vast it has become the only reality he knows. Mrs. Pemberton lasts 3 days. On the 4th morning, Ivy locks her in the bathroom during breakfast. Not accidentally, with clear intent, turning the old iron key from the outside and then sitting on the floor to wait. When Edmund's housekeeper finally frees the furious nanny 2 hours later, Mrs. Pemberton quits on the spot, citing impossible working conditions and clear behavioral disturbances requiring professional intervention. Edmund hires Miss Laurent within hours, a Swiss specialist in childhood trauma with credentials from Geneva and a manner as precise as a surgeon's scalpel. She arrives with color-coded schedules and evidence-based techniques. She explains to Dominic in carefully modulated tones that selective mutism is a trauma response requiring structured therapeutic intervention. She lasts 4 days. Ivy waits until Miss Laurent leaves her designer handbag unattended during afternoon structured playtime. The syrup from the kitchen pantry soaks through Italian leather and 300 pages of clinical notes. Miss Laurent departs in tears, muttering in French about petite démons. The third nanny, Mrs. Chen, a stern woman from Shanghai with 30 years of experience, endures 6 days. She implements military precision. Wake times, meal times, educational activities scheduled to the minute. She tolerates Ivy's silence with pursed lips and rigid patience. On day 6, she finds all her certifications shredded in Ivy's art supplies drawer. Her references, letters of recommendation, child psychology credentials, confetti. Each departure follows the same pattern: Ivy's silent, strategic sabotage, Dominic's hollow apologies, his voice barely rising above a whisper, Edmund's increasingly frustrated calls to placement agencies, his demands for someone competent growing sharper with each failed placement. Meanwhile, Dominic exists in fog. He sits in Charlotte's studio for hours, surrounded by her unfinished paintings. Sometimes he picks up her brushes. Mostly, he just stares at the canvas where she'd been working on a portrait of Ivy, half complete, forever frozen in process. He misses feedings. Not intentionally. Time simply stops meaning anything. The nurses handle Lucas with efficient detachment, but they send pointed messages through Edmund about the importance of paternal bonding. Dominic receives these messages like distant radio signals from a planet he no longer inhabits. He can't bear Lucas's cries. Every wail sounds like Charlotte's last breath. Edmund criticizes his wallowing during stiff dinners where Dominic pushes food around his plate and Ivy sits silent as a ghost. "You have children who need you," Edmund says, his voice tight with the same disappointment Dominic has heard his entire life. Grief is not an excuse for abdication of responsibility. Dominic says nothing. What's there to say? His father handled his mother Eleanor's death by working 18-hour days and hiring staff to raise an 8-year-old. Edmund built an empire on emotional avoidance. He wouldn't recognize authentic grief if it appeared on a quarterly earnings report. On day 14, Maya Santos begins work as housemaid. She's not supposed to interact with the family. Mrs. Chen, the head housekeeper, makes that explicitly clear. Maya is assigned silver polishing, linen organizing, the third-floor windows. Stay invisible, maintain professional distance. The family is grieving. They need privacy, not familiarity. But Maya notices the sad little girl who watches from windows. She sees Ivy standing at the glass, small hands pressed against the pane, staring out at the garden where leaves are beginning to turn gold. The child's face holds an expression Maya recognizes in her own mirror, the hollow look of someone who has lost everything and doesn't understand why the world keeps spinning anyway. Maya's hands pause on the silver she's polishing. Her reflection stares back at her, warped and metallic. 6 months ago, her brother Miguel was alive. 6 months ago, she had family dinners and laughter and someone who called her Hermana with joy in his voice. Now, she has silence, work, survival. She watches the girl at the window and sees a kindred spirit drowning in loss. Thursday afternoon arrives with bruised clouds and the electric promise of storms. Maya is alone in the basement laundry room, sorting linens that still smell faintly of fabric softener and wealth, when the first crack of thunder shakes the mansion's foundation. Then she hears it, a whimper, soft and frightened, coming from behind the industrial dryers. She sets down the towel she's folding and moves quietly around the machines. There, curled into the smallest possible version of herself, is Ivy Rockwell. The child's hands press tight against her ears, her whole body trembling with each boom of thunder. Maya knows protocol. Mrs. Chen, the head housekeeper, made it crystal clear during orientation. Staff do not engage with family. The Rockwells are grieving. They need space, not familiarity. Maya is here to polish silver and fold sheets, nothing more. But protocol doesn't account for the sound of a 6-year-old trying not to exist. Maya sits down on the cold concrete floor, cross-legged, her back against the dryer. She doesn't reach for Ivy, doesn't speak, just begins folding the pile of towels she brought with her, her movements slow and deliberate. Thunder rolls overhead. Ivy's breathing hitches. Maya begins to hum, softly at first, then a little stronger. Duerme negrito, her grandmother's lullaby, the song she used to sing to Miguel when storms scared him, back when he was small enough to believe her voice could chase away the dark. The melody fills the basement's concrete spaces, warm and round. After 5 minutes, Ivy's shaking begins to ease. After 10, her breathing steadies. After 15, she shifts slightly, watching Maya's hands transform a simple washcloth into something else entirely. A rabbit, ears folded just so. Maya sets it on the floor between them. No words, no expectations. Ivy stares at the towel rabbit for a long moment. Then she inches forward, just a little, just enough. Maya folds another washcloth, a swan this time, graceful and curved. She places it beside the rabbit. Ivy's fingers reach out tentatively, touching the fabric creature. Maya hands her a washcloth and shows her the first fold, then waits. Ivy's small hands copy the motion, uncertain but focused. Maya shows her the next fold. Ivy follows. The storm rages outside, but in this small space, they're building something. An elephant, a fox, a bear with rounded ears. An hour passes, maybe more. Time becomes elastic in the dim basement light, measured in folded animals and shared silence. When the thunder finally moves on, leaving only rain drumming against high windows, Ivy has created an entire zoo. She looks up at Maya, really looks at her, and something passes between them. Not gratitude exactly, recognition. The acknowledgement that sometimes the only thing that helps is someone willing to sit on the floor with you and not ask why. Ivy gathers her towel animals carefully and stands. She pauses at the doorway, glances back once, and then disappears up the stairs. Maya stays seated on the concrete floor, surrounded by remaining laundry. Her vision blurs. She's crying without meaning to, without permission, the way grief always comes, unexpected and unstoppable. Because she remembers this, teaching Miguel to fold washcloths into animals during the long, boring hours between her shifts at the restaurant. His laugh when he finally got the rabbit ears right. His concentration when he tried to make a giraffe with a towel too small for the job. 6 months ago, Miguel was alive. 6 months ago, she had someone to fold towels for. Now she has a job in a house full of strangers and a child who understands that sometimes silence is the only honest language left. Maya picks up another towel and folds it mechanically, her tears falling onto white cotton, disappearing like they were never there at all. Friday morning, Maya is vacuuming the second-floor hallway when Ivy appears. The child stands at the end of the corridor, holding a piece of paper. She doesn't speak. She hasn't spoken since her mother's funeral, according to the hushed conversations Maya overhears between staff. but she walks forward with purpose and holds out the paper to Maya. It's a drawing, a flower, rendered in crayon with the fierce concentration only 6-year-olds possess, petals in pink and purple, a green stem, yellow center. Maya turns off the vacuum. She studies the drawing seriously, the way it deserves. Then she pulls a piece of tape from her apron pocket and carefully affixes the flower to her cleaning cart. Ivy's face doesn't exactly smile, but something eases around her eyes. Saturday, Ivy follows Maya through her tasks. When Maya sprays windows in the conservatory, Ivy appears with a cloth and helps wipe them down. When Maya organizes the linen closet, Ivy sits on the floor and sorts washcloths by color. They don't speak. They don't need to. Their communication exists in gestures and proximity, in the comfortable rhythm of shared work. Edmund notices on Sunday afternoon, watching from his office as Ivy trails after the new maid. He dismisses it as harmless. Children form attachments. It will pass. Dominic, emerging from Charlotte's studio only for obligatory meals, doesn't notice at all. By Tuesday, they have established rituals. Maya saves the library dusting for late morning when Ivy gravitates downstairs. They work side by side, Maya with her cloth, Ivy with a smaller one, carefully wiping the lower shelves. During Maya's lunch break, they sit together in the servants' dining room. Ivy watches Maya make a sandwich and copies her technique exactly. Bread, cheese, lettuce, bread. She takes small, solemn bites. They fold origami during the quiet afternoon hour. Maya's grandmother taught her basic shapes when she was young. Cranes, boats, boxes. She shows Ivy a simple crane, and Ivy's face transforms with concentration. By the end of the week, they have a collection of paper birds lined up on the kitchen windowsill. Mrs. Chen, the head housekeeper, pulls Maya aside Wednesday evening. "You're overstepping," she says, but her voice lacks real censure. She's been with the Rockwells for 12 years. She watched Edmund shut down after his wife Eleanor died, watched him raise Dominic with staff and distance. Now she's watching history repeat itself with the next generation. Maya searches for words. "She's just there." Mrs. Chen sighs. "I know." She pauses, then adds quietly, "She smiled today. First time in weeks." She studies Maya's face. "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Just be careful." Maya understands. Be careful not to overstep. Be careful not to get attached. Be careful not to become important to a child who's already lost too much. But Friday afternoon, when Ivy appears in the hall with another drawing, this one of 2 figures, one big and one small, holding hands, Maya tapes it to her cart beside the flower. And when Ivy reaches out and takes Maya's hand briefly, squeezing once before letting go, Maya knows it's already too late for careful. She's already attached. They both are. And in a house built on protocol and professional distance, sometimes the most radical act is simply showing up. Wednesday morning arrives with Miss Aldridge's abrupt departure. 5 days. That's all she managed before citing impossible working conditions and fleeing the Rockwell estate at 10 a.m. sharp, her credentials packed alongside her dignity. By noon, Edmund is on a conference call with a Boston agency, his voice echoing through the halls with barely restrained frustration. "I don't care about their credentials. I need someone who can handle a traumatized child and stay longer than a week." In the East Wing nursery, Lucas screams. The sound cuts through the mansion's expensive insulation, high-pitched and desperate. Dominic sits in the garden, staring at Charlotte's rose bushes without seeing them. His body won't move toward the sound. His mind knows he should. Go to his son, but grief has calcified his limbs into something useless. Upstairs, Ivy hears her brother's cries. She's in her room, drawing another picture for Maya's cart. This one shows 4 figures holding hands, though she hasn't decided yet if she's brave enough to give it away. But Lucas's wailing pulls her from her crayons with urgent clarity. She finds Maya on the 3rd floor, polishing the banister with methodical strokes. Ivy doesn't hesitate. She takes Maya's hand, first physical contact, first deliberate touch, and pulls with surprising strength for someone so small. Maya's heart stutters. She knows the rules. Mrs. Chen's warning echoes. Be careful, don't overstep. But Ivy's eyes hold something Maya recognizes from her own mirror, the desperate need for someone to just do something when the world is drowning. She follows. The nursery smells like baby powder and abandonment. Lucas lies in his crib, face red from crying. tiny fists clenched against a world that already took his mother. The bottles sit unprepared on the counter. Miss Aldridge left mid-shift without even basic care. Maya picks him up, and Lucas's weight against her chest breaks something open. He's so small, so completely innocent of the grief that surrounds his existence. She finds a prepared bottle in the warmer, tests it on her wrist the way she learned with her youngest siblings, and settles into the rocking chair. As she feeds him, her own grief surfaces without permission. Tears stream down her face. She doesn't try to hide them or stop them. She just rocks and cries and whispers to Miguel in Spanish. No pude salvarte, pero tal vez puedo ayudar a este pequeño. I couldn't save you, but maybe I can help this little one. Lucas's eyes fix on her face as he drinks, his crying fading into small hiccups, then silence, then the soft sounds of a baby finally being held by someone who cares. Dominic appears in the doorway. He's been drawn from his fog by the absence of sound, the sudden quiet more alarming than the screaming. He expected to find another nanny handling things with professional efficiency. Instead, he finds Maya, this young woman he's barely noticed in 3 weeks, holding his son with tears streaming down her face. No performance, no platitudes, just raw, undefended pain matching his own. Something in Dominic's chest cracks open for the first time since Charlotte died. "Thank you," he whispers. Maya looks up, eyes wet, mascara smudged. She doesn't wipe her tears or apologize for them. "He just needed someone," she says simply. Their gazes hold. In that moment, two people drowning in separate oceans recognize each other across the water. Dominic enters the nursery slowly and sits on the ottoman near the rocking chair. He watches his son feed, watches this stranger cry over a baby who isn't hers, watches Ivy lean against Maya's chair with complete trust. "I can't," he starts, then stops. Starts again. "I haven't been able to." "I know," Maya says, softly. And somehow, impossibly, she does. Thursday morning, Edmund reluctantly agrees to Maya's temporary childcare coverage while agencies search for appropriate candidates. He authorizes a modest pay increase, enough to be insulting but necessary, and issues strict instructions about maintaining professional boundaries. Maya moves into a small staff room near the nursery. It's hardly bigger than a closet, with a narrow bed and a window overlooking the service entrance. But it's close to the children, and that's all that matters. That first morning, she creates structure from instinct rather than training. 7 a.m. wake up with music. She plays cumbia from her phone, the joyful Mexican rhythm so foreign to this house of hushed tones. Ivy's eyes widen at the sound, something like wonder crossing her face. Breakfast together in the kitchen, not the formal dining room with its heavy silence. Maya makes scrambled eggs and toast, letting Ivy help crack eggs and stir. They eat at the worn wooden table where the staff usually sits, Lucas in a bouncer nearby. Morning outdoor time in the garden. Maya spreads a blanket and they do absolutely nothing productive. Just lie in the grass watching clouds while Lucas naps in the carrier strapped to her chest. Lunch. Quiet time. Afternoon creative play. Maya brings construction paper and watercolors and they paint without agenda. Ivy creates wild splashes of color and Maya praises each one seriously. Dinner, bath, bedtime story. By Saturday, they've established flow. Maya paints with Ivy in the morning room, Lucas sleeping against her chest. They're making handprint flowers when Dominic appears in the doorway. He's been watching from his studio window all week, observing how Maya never forces joy, but creates space for it. How she moves through the house singing softly in Spanish. How Ivy follows her like a shadow, slowly coming back to life. "Can I?" Dominic hesitates. "Would it be okay if I joined you?" Maya looks up, paint on her hands. "Of course." She hands him a paintbrush without ceremony, no special accommodation for his grief or status, just an invitation to participate. They work in comfortable silence, 3 people who understand that sometimes presence matters more than words. Ivy carefully presses her small hand into green paint and stamps it onto paper. Maya shows her how to add petals around it, transforming a handprint into a flower. Dominic watches his daughter's concentration, the way her tongue sticks out slightly when she focuses, just like Charlotte used to do. The memory doesn't destroy him. It hurts, but it doesn't make him want to disappear. He presses his own hand into blue paint and adds his print to the paper. Ivy grins, actually grins, and adds another flower next to his. Sunday afternoon finds them in the garden. Maya has planted a small section with wildflower seeds, and Ivy is helping water them with a miniature watering can. Lucas lies on a blanket, making happy. Baby sounds at the clouds. Dominic sits nearby, Charlotte's guitar across his lap, first time he's touched it since her death. His fingers find chords tentatively, like speaking a language he thought he'd forgotten. Maya hums along, recognizing the melody. And in the garden of the Rockwell estate, surrounded by wealth that couldn't prevent tragedy, 3 broken people and 1 innocent baby begin building something that looks almost like a family. Over 14 days, the household transforms in ways no one anticipated. Maya's morning music sessions grow louder, more confident. Cumbia rhythms bounce off the kitchen walls while Ivy bangs wooden spoons against pots with fierce concentration. Lucas, strapped to Maya's chest in a carrier, bounces with each movement, gurgling his approval. Even the staff pause in doorways, drawn by sounds of joy in a house that's known only silence. They plant a small garden in a neglected corner of the estate. Nothing fancy, just herbs and wildflowers. Ivy carefully writes plant names on wooden stakes, her letters wobbly but determined. Maya teaches her the Spanish words too: albahaca, romero, lavanda. The girl repeats them solemnly, testing foreign sounds on her tongue. During afternoon quiet time, they lie on blankets in the garden watching clouds drift past. Maya tells stories about her childhood in Oaxaca, her grandmother's kitchen that always smelled like cinnamon and chocolate, her brother's terrible jokes, the neighbor's rooster who thought he owned the entire street. She speaks of Miguel naturally, weaving his memory into the fabric of daily life rather than hiding him away. Each evening, they light a candle. Maya places it on the kitchen windowsill and says simply, "For people we miss." She encourages Ivy to draw pictures for Mama in the sky. The drawings start hesitant, stick figures with uncertain smiles, but gradually become more detailed. A woman with dark hair painting, a family of 4 holding hands. Dominic begins joining their rituals. At first, he just watches from doorways, drawn by the sound of his daughter's laughter. Then, one morning, he appears in the kitchen during music time. Maya hands him a wooden spoon without comment, and he taps it against the counter, finding rhythm. Ivy's face transforms. He plays guitar during their afternoon sessions, Charlotte's guitar, untouched for months. His fingers fumble over forgotten chords, but the music holds. Maya hums along in harmony, and Lucas makes happy sounds that might be singing. One Wednesday afternoon in the library, Ivy sits curled against Maya on the reading chair while Lucas naps nearby. They're looking at a picture book about birds when Ivy's finger traces a cardinal on the page. She opens her mouth, closes it, tries again. "More," she whispers. Maya's breath catches, but she doesn't make it a moment, just turns the page naturally, as if Ivy speaks every day. By Friday, Ivy uses short phrases with both Maya and Dominic. Read this. 1. Lucas is crying. I'm hungry. Her voice comes out rusty, uncertain, but real. The grief hasn't vanished. Some mornings, Dominic still sits too long in Charlotte's studio. Some nights, Maya cries for Miguel, but they're functioning as a unit now, supporting each other's weight. That Friday evening, after the children sleep, Dominic finds Maya on the terrace. She's wrapped in a cardigan against the September chill, staring at stars. "Thank you," he says, sitting beside her, "for everything you've done. I haven't done anything special. You showed up. You stayed." His voice catches. "You let us be broken without trying to fix us." They talk until 2 a.m. about Charlotte, about Miguel, about how grief feels like drowning while everyone on shore tells you to just swim, about the guilt of laughing again, about the fear of forgetting. Their hands rest beside each other on the bench. Neither pulls away when their fingers brush. The touch lingers, tentative, electric, terrifying. Neither acknowledges what's growing between them, not yet. But as Maya finally heads to her small staff room and Dominic returns to his empty bed, they both lie awake, thinking of hands almost touching in the dark. Saturday morning arrives with Edmund's announcement. He's leaving for Singapore, a week-long business trip. The house exhales collectively at his departure. With Edmund's scrutinizing presence gone, Maya, Dominic, Ivy, and Lucas spend the day like a real family rather than employer and staff. Morning at the park. Lucas in a stroller, Ivy running ahead to claim the best swing. Dominic pushes her higher and higher while she shrieks with delight. Maya sits on a bench nearby, watching this man slowly remember how to be a father, and something in her chest aches with tenderness. Lunch at a small cafe, Ivy's first public outing since Charlotte's death. She sits pressed against Maya's side, speaking in quiet bursts about her grilled cheese. A woman at the next table smiles at them, probably thinking they're a young family, ordinary and whole. Afternoon in the estate's greenhouse where Ivy wants to plant seeds. The space is humid and warm, glass walls fogged with moisture. Ivy decorates terracotta pots with paint, bold strokes of purple and green, handprints turned into butterflies. Lucas sleeps in his carrier while Maya holds packets of seeds, reading planting instructions. Then the summer rainstorm rolls in. It happens fast, sky darkening, wind picking up, rain suddenly drumming against glass. They're trapped in the greenhouse's humid warmth, surrounded by Ivy's colorful handprints on foggy windows. Ivy remains absorbed in her painting, humming one of Maya's Spanish lullabies. Lucas sleeps peacefully, and Dominic and Maya stand close together, watching rain streak the glass. I keep thinking I'm betraying her, Dominic says quietly. Charlotte, every time I laugh or feel anything except grief. Maya watches water blur the world beyond the glass. Miguel would be furious if I stopped living because he can't. He'd say I was wasting the life he'd give anything to still have. Charlotte would say the same. Dominic's voice breaks. She'd want Ivy to have this, what you've given us. I haven't given you anything. You've just found each other again. Because you sat on the floor with us. He turns to face her fully. Maya's breath catches at the intensity in his eyes, grief and gratitude and something else, something that makes her pulse race. Maya, he whispers. The moment stretches, rain hammering glass, Ivy humming, Lucas breathing, the world reduced to the space between them. Dominic cups her face with hands that tremble. Tell me to stop. But Maya rises on her toes instead, closing the distance. Their kiss tastes like tears and healing, desperate and gentle at once. Months of shared grief and daily rituals culminate in this unbearable tenderness. Maya's hands fist in his shirt. Dominic's fingers tangle in her hair. When they finally break apart, breathing hard, Ivy looks up from her painting. She sees them standing close, foreheads pressed together, and she smiles, actually smiles, before returning to her work. That night, after the children are asleep, they make love in Dominic's room. They cry and laugh and feel alive for the first time since their respective losses. It's not betrayal of the dead, they realize. It's the courage to keep living despite devastating loss. It's choosing life when death has already taken so much. Sunday morning arrives with golden light and the sound of Ivy's laughter. It's been 12 weeks since the greenhouse kiss, 12 weeks of living in a secret that feels less like deception and more like protection. Edmund travels frequently, Singapore, London, Tokyo. His assistant handling estate matters remotely. The house belongs to them in his absence. Mornings have become sacred. All four gather in the kitchen while the rest of the staff haven't yet arrived. Dominic makes coffee, the expensive machine hissing and gurgling. Maya prepares breakfast, sometimes scrambled eggs, sometimes pancakes shaped like animals that make Ivy giggle. Ivy sits at the counter, feeding Lucas mashed banana, narrating each bite in the serious voice of a 6-year-old playing house. Open wide, Lucas. It's good for you. Makes you strong. Lucas responds with enthusiastic baby sounds and banana-covered smiles. They've created new traditions. Tuesday afternoons, they hike the trails behind the estate. Dominic carries Lucas in a backpack carrier while Ivy runs ahead, pointing out birds and interesting rocks. Maya walks beside Dominic, their hands brushing, fingers intertwining when Ivy's not looking. Friday nights mean movie nights in the media room. They pile on the leather sofa with blankets and popcorn, watching animated films that make Ivy quote lines for days afterward. Lucas falls asleep against Maya's chest while Dominic's arm rests along the sofa back, not quite touching her shoulders, but close enough to feel the warmth. Saturdays belong to the farmer's market. They drive into town in Dominic's SUV rather than having staff shop for them. Ivy practices speaking with vendors, her voice growing stronger each week. How much for the strawberries? Can I have a sample? Thank you very much. Maya teaches them Spanish phrases. Buenos dias becomes their morning greeting. Dominic stumbles over pronunciation, making Ivy laugh. Lucas babbles sounds that might be words or might just be noise, but they celebrate anyway. They have family dinners in the kitchen, never the formal dining room with its crystal and judgment. Maya cooks recipes from her grandmother, pozole, enchiladas, arroz con leche. Dominic attempts to help, earning gentle corrections and patient instruction. Ivy sets the table with mismatched enthusiasm. One evening, Dominic shows Ivy Charlotte's photo albums. Maya sits beside them, her presence making it bearable. They look through pictures of Charlotte pregnant with Ivy, Charlotte painting in her studio, Charlotte laughing at something off camera. "Mama was beautiful," Ivy says softly. "She was," Dominic agrees, "and she loved you so much." Maya helps him find words a 6-year-old can understand. "Your mama's body stopped working, but the love she gave you lives forever. It's in your heart, and it's okay to be happy again. Your mama would want that." Ivy leans against Maya. "Mama would like you, Maida." The nickname, Little Maya, makes her eyes sting. "I would have liked her too." They light candles each evening. 3 flames now: Charlotte, Miguel, Eleanor, remembering without being imprisoned by memory. Neighbors begin noticing. Mrs. Patterson from 3 estates over mentions seeing that lovely nanny at the park with the children. The comment reaches Edmund's assistant, who includes it in a weekly report. Staff gossip but remain discreet. They've seen Dominic transform from a ghost to a father. They've watched Ivy blossom. Even Mrs. Chen, the head housekeeper, quietly adjusts schedules to give them privacy. By week 12, Dominic discusses permanence. Thursday night, after the children sleep, he shows Maya Charlotte's ring, a simple diamond, elegant and understated. "I want to do this right," he says. "Tell my father first, propose properly, make it real." Maya touches the ring with trembling fingers. "Are you sure? Your father? We'll have to accept it. You're already family. I just want to make it official." They kiss in the kitchen, unaware that Edmund's assistant is compiling a report with photos from the farmer's market, from the park, from a dozen moments when they looked like exactly what they are: a family. Friday morning shatters like dropped crystal. Edmund returns a week early, his driver pulling up to the estate at 9 a.m. instead of the expected following Tuesday. His assistant sent an email overnight, surveillance photos, a detailed report, concerns about inappropriate staff relationships, and the children's well-being. Edmund sits in his study reviewing the evidence. Dominic and Maya kissing at the farmer's market, her head on his shoulder. Maya wearing Charlotte's cream cardigan, the one Charlotte lived in during her pregnancy with Ivy. The 4 of them at the park, looking like a unit, like a family, like something that crosses lines Edmund didn't even know needed defending. The photos make it undeniable. This isn't a brief lapse in judgment. This is a relationship, deep and established, and completely unacceptable. At noon, Ivy leaves for her first post-trauma playdate with the neighbor's daughter, a milestone they've been building toward for weeks. Lucas naps upstairs. Edmund summons Dominic and Maya to his study. The room smells like leather and old money and disappointment. Edmund sits behind his massive desk. His lawyer's contact information lies open on his tablet. "Sit," Edmund says, not an invitation. Dominic reaches for Maya's hand. She squeezes back. "I've been informed," Edmund begins, his voice tight with controlled fury, "that you've been conducting an affair with the help." He looks at Maya with something between pity and contempt. "With the maid." "Her name is Maya," Dominic says quietly, "and it's not an affair. We're in love." Edmund's jaw clenches. "You've been widowed less than 6 months. Charlotte is barely cold in the ground, and you're—" He stops, recalibrating. "This is completely inappropriate." "I loved Charlotte," Dominic says. "I will always love her. But she's gone, and I'm still here, and Maya helped us remember how to live." "She's staff, Dominic. Do you understand how this looks? What people will say?" "I don't care what people say." Edmund turns to Maya. "How much do you want?" Maya's spine straightens. "Excuse me?" To leave quietly. 50,000? 100? His tone suggests this is generous. "Sign an NDA, disappear, let us handle this professionally." "I'm not leaving," Maya says, her voice steady despite the trembling in her hands. Edmund's expression hardens. Then, we have a problem. He slides a folder across the desk. I had your background checked. Your work visa has irregularities. Your previous employer closed without filing proper termination paperwork. Your current status is, legally speaking, questionable. The threat hangs unspoken. You're threatening deportation, Dominic says, his voice dangerous. You're threatening the woman I love to maintain appearances. I'm protecting my grandchildren from instability, from a woman we know nothing about who's clearly taken advantage of a vulnerable situation. She saved us. Dominic's voice breaks. We were drowning, and she sat on the floor with us and taught us how to breathe again. Then she's done her job, and now it's time for her to go. Edmund turns back to Maya. Leave by Monday morning with the severance, or I report the visa issues and pursue custody of the children based on Dominic's documented mental health struggles and poor judgment. The room goes silent. You wouldn't, Dominic whispers. I would do anything to protect those children's futures, even from their father's mistakes. Maya stands abruptly. I'll go. Maya. He'll take the children, Dominic. He has the resources. He'll win. Her eyes shine with tears. I won't let Ivy lose anyone else. I won't let you lose them. That's settled then, Edmund says. Pack your things. Be gone by Monday. Maya leaves without looking back. Dominic stays seated, staring at his father with something between horror and recognition. You did this to me, Dominic says softly. When Mom died, you hired people to handle it, to handle me, and I grew up thinking that's what love looked like. Strategic, managed, professional. I kept you safe. I kept you stable. You kept me alone. Dominic stands. And I won't do that to my children. We have 72 hours. Don't think I'll waste them. He walks out, leaving Edmund alone with his ultimatum and the photographs of a family he doesn't understand. Friday night bleeds into Saturday morning without sleep. Maya sits on her narrow staff room bed, her suitcase open on the floor like a wound. She folds and refolds the same shirt, her hands moving mechanically while her mind races through impossible calculations. If she stays, Edmund reports the visa issues. Deportation proceedings begin. Dominic fights back, and Edmund weaponizes custody. Documented depression, poor judgment, a house in chaos. Ivy loses another mother figure. Lucas grows up in the crossfire. If she leaves, the children keep their father. Dominic keeps his children. Everyone loses only her. The math is brutal and clear. Dominic appears in her doorway at dawn, looking like he hasn't slept either. Don't pack. I have to. We'll fight him. I'll call lawyers. He'll win. Maya's voice breaks. He has unlimited resources and you have documented mental health struggles. He'll paint me as an opportunist who took advantage of a grieving widower. The courts will side with stability and wealth. So we run. We take the kids and he pursues kidnapping charges. Dominic, he's thought of everything. He always does. They stare at each other across the small room, both recognizing the trap's perfect design. Saturday morning, they maintain normalcy for Ivy. Pancakes shaped like stars, Lucas gurgling happily in his high chair. But Ivy senses the tension. She draws a picture during quiet time, 4 stick figures, one with a suitcase walking away. She shows it to Maya with eyes too knowing for 6 years old. Are you leaving like the nannies? Maya's throat closes. I don't want to. Then don't. The child's logic is devastatingly simple. Saturday afternoon, while the children nap, Dominic calls 3 different lawyers. Weekend consultations, desperate and expensive. The news is consistent. Edmund's threats are legally viable. Maya's visa situation is genuinely problematic. Custody battles favor wealthy grandparents when fathers show instability. Fighting could take years and cost the children everything. Maya begins packing in earnest. Her belongings fit into 2 suitcases, a life condensed to essentials. She finds the towel animals Ivy made that first thunderstorm, carefully preserved in her drawer. She leaves them on Ivy's pillow with a note in simple words. You are brave and strong and so loved. Never forget. Saturday night, Dominic sits in Charlotte's studio, looking at her unfinished paintings. He picks up her brushes, sets them down, picks them up again. What would you want me to do? he whispers to the empty room. The answer comes not in words, but in memory. Charlotte's voice after his mother's funeral when he was 8. Your father doesn't know how to love without controlling. Don't let him make you the same way. Sunday morning arrives with cruel sunshine. Ivy wakes to find the towel animals in Maya's note. She carries both downstairs, crying silently in that way that's worse than screaming. We're not letting her go, Dominic tells his daughter. I don't know how yet, but we're not. Ivy nods, clutching the paper rabbit Maya taught her to fold months ago. Sunday afternoon, Dominic makes his decision. He calls Edmund's lawyer and requests a family meeting for Monday at 10 a.m. The lawyer, assuming capitulation, agrees readily. That evening, Dominic coaches Ivy gently. Tomorrow, Grandpa and his lawyer are coming. If you're brave enough, only if you want to, you could tell them how you feel about Maya. Ivy's small face sets with determination. I can be brave. They spend Sunday night memorizing each other, the four of them on the living room floor, building towers from blocks, reading stories, existing in borrowed time. When Ivy finally sleeps, Maya and Dominic hold each other in the dark, trying to believe tomorrow might offer a miracle they can't yet see. Monday morning, 10 a.m. sharp. Edmund's formal office smells like leather and old victories. Edmund sits behind his massive desk, flanked by Richard Pembroke, his attorney, a man whose suits cost more than most people's monthly rent. Dominic enters with Maya and, surprisingly, with Ivy. Lucas stays upstairs with Mrs. Chen. Children shouldn't be present for adult discussions, Richard begins. My daughter has a voice, Dominic says quietly. You'll hear it. Edmund's expression tightens, but he nods. They sit, Dominic and Maya on one side, Ivy between them holding Maya's hand with fierce determination. Edmund begins with his prepared statement about family standards, appropriate boundaries, and the children's best interests. His voice carries the weight of absolute certainty, a man accustomed to compliance. When he finishes, Richard slides paperwork across the desk, the severance agreement and NDA, $50,000, Maya's signature, her disappearance. Or, Dominic asks, or we pursue all available legal remedies for everyone's protection. Silence stretches taut. Then Dominic speaks. I'm renouncing any claim to my inheritance. I want nothing from the family trust. I'll move into Maya's one-bedroom apartment in Stamford if necessary. I'll work at any tech firm that will hire me. His voice stays level, calm. You can keep your money. I'm keeping my family. Edmund's face flushes. You'll give up millions for the Maid? Before Dominic can respond, Ivy stands. Her small frame vibrates with courage as she faces her grandfather across the vast desk. Maya helped us remember how to be happy. Her voice shakes but holds. She doesn't try to replace Mama. She just helps Daddy take care of us. She makes Lucas laugh and she teaches me about missing people without being scared forever. Tears stream down her face. That's not wrong, Grandpa. That's good. The room falls silent. Even Richard looks uncomfortable. Ivy continues, her words tumbling out. Daddy was sad and broken after Mama died. He couldn't even look at Lucas. Now he smiles, he plays with us, he sings. Why is that bad? Edmund stares at his granddaughter, this small person with Charlotte's eyes and her own fierce courage, and something fundamental cracks in his expression. Ivy, sweetheart, you're sad too, Ivy says, her voice softer now. You're sad about Grandma Eleanor. I heard Daddy say so. Maybe you just forgot how to be happy again. But that doesn't mean we have to forget too. Edmund's face crumples. For the first time since Eleanor's death 20 years ago, tears streak down his cheeks. The billionaire tech titan reduced to a grieving man who never learned to process loss. Richard clears his throat. Perhaps we should get out, Edmund whispers. Sir? Leave us. Family discussion. Richard gathers his papers and exits, looking relieved. Edmund sits in silence, crying, while his granddaughter, son, and the woman they love wait. Finally, he speaks, his voice raw. When Eleanor died, I didn't know how to... I thought if I kept working, kept building, kept Dominic in expensive schools with good staff... He stops, starts again. I thought providing was love. I was wrong, wasn't I? Yes, Dominic says simply. You were wrong. Edmund dismisses Richard with a curt wave. Leave us. The lawyer hesitates, glancing at the folder of prepared legal documents. "Sir, I should..." "Out." Richard gathers his materials and exits, relief evident in his quick departure. The door clicks shut, leaving Edmund alone with Dominic, Maya, and Ivy, who remains curled in Maya's lap, small and fierce and utterly unafraid. For the first time in Dominic's adult life, his father's composure shatters. Edmund's hands tremble as he removes his glasses. He sets them on the desk with careful precision, then covers his face. His shoulders shake. The sound that emerges, raw, choked, decades overdue, is grief finally finding voice. "Dad." Dominic's voice softens with something between pity and vindication. Edmund looks up, tears streaming down his weathered face. "When your mother died..." He stops, tries again. "Eleanor, when I lost her, you were 8 years old. I believed the correct response was stability, structure. I hired the best staff, maintained routines, kept working. I thought providing was enough." "It wasn't," Dominic says quietly. "No." Edmund's voice breaks. "I created a legacy and lost my son. You grew up watching me bury emotion in spreadsheets and strategic planning, and when Charlotte died, you..." He gestures helplessly. "You repeated my patterns. The nannies, the distance, the paralysis. It felt validating until Maya disrupted it," Dominic finishes. Edmund nods. "I'm terrified." The admission costs him. "Terrified you're making mistakes. Terrified of being irrelevant in my grandchildren's lives. Terrified that my rigidity, this belief that love equals control and provision, has cost me everything that matters." Maya shifts Ivy slightly, speaking for the first time since Edmund dismissed his lawyer. "I don't want to destroy your family." "You're not destroying it." Edmund's gaze moves between them. "You're exposing what's already broken." He looks at Ivy. "Your courage, sweetheart. Speaking truth when all the adults were too afraid. You sound like your mother. And like you," Dominic adds, "when you still knew how to feel." Edmund flinches but doesn't deny it. "Tell me about your brother," he says to Maya. She hesitates, then speaks. Miguel's laugh, his dreams, the drunk driver, the guilt of bringing him to America, the hole his absence leaves. Edmund listens without interrupting, and something shifts in his expression, recognition of authentic grief, the kind he's spent 20 years avoiding. "I see it now," Edmund says finally. "You're not an opportunist. You're another person broken by loss, choosing to create meaning through care rather than control." He turns to Dominic. "I don't know how to do this. Be present without managing, love without fixing. I've spent decades equating power with protection." "So learn," Dominic says. "The way I'm learning, the way Ivy learned to speak again, choose differently." "What if I fail?" "You already did," Maya says gently. "With Dominic, with Eleanor's memory. The question is whether you'll fail again with your grandchildren, or whether you'll try something terrifying and new." Edmund sits with this. The office feels smaller, stripped of its intimidation. Finally, he speaks. "I withdraw the ultimatum. No deportation threats, no custody fight." He pauses. "But I need time. This goes against everything I've believed about propriety, about..." "We're not asking for your blessing," Dominic interrupts. "We're offering you a choice. Be part of this family we're building, imperfect and unconventional as it is, or remain alone in your principles." Edmund looks at Ivy, still secure in Maya's arms, at Lucas's photo on his desk, at the son he's pushed away through rigid expectations. "Family counseling," he says finally. "All of us. I don't trust myself to change without help." "Agreed," Dominic says. They sit in fragile silence, 3 adults and 1 child beginning the hard work of healing across generations. 2 weeks later, they move. The Westport Colonial is modest by Rockwell standards. 4 bedrooms, 1 bathroom per floor, a kitchen that requires actual cooking rather than staff preparation. The realtor called it charming, with the slight condescension reserved for wealthy people downsizing. Dominic calls it freedom. Moving day arrives with chaos, cardboard boxes everywhere. Ivy helps by unpacking her stuffed animals and arranging them on every available surface. Lucas, now confidently crawling, treats the empty boxes like a personal playground. Maya directs traffic between rooms while Dominic assembles furniture with instructions that make no sense. "This screw doesn't fit," he mutters, holding a dining chair at an odd angle. Maya peers over his shoulder. That's because you're using the wrong screw. They're all identical. They're labeled A through F. That's tyranny disguised as organization. She laughs, bright and unguarded, and the sound fills their new home with promise. Edmund arrives mid-afternoon, driving himself rather than using his driver. He parks awkwardly, taking up 1.5 spaces. When he enters carrying an expensive housewarming gift, a crystal vase they'll never use, Ivy runs to him. "Grandpa, come see my room!" She grabs his hand, pulling him upstairs. Edmund shoots Dominic a helpless look but follows, allowing himself to be led. In Ivy's new room, walls painted lavender per her specifications, she shows him her art corner. Drawings cover one wall, family portraits, garden scenes, abstract splashes of color. Charlotte's paintings hang beside them, integrated rather than enshrined. "This one's Mama," Ivy explains, pointing, "and this one's Maya, and this is all of us at the farmer's market." Edmund studies the drawings with unexpected attention. "You're talented, like your mother." Maida says art is how we remember without being sad. Maya is wise. Edmund sits on the floor, actually sits on the floor, with visible effort. "I brought you something better than that vase your father's pretending to appreciate." He pulls out a photo album. "Pictures of Grandma Eleanor, your other grandma who died when your daddy was little. I thought, maybe you'd like to know her." Ivy settles beside him, and they look through pages together. Edmund tells stories he's never shared. Eleanor's terrible singing voice, her insistence on dancing in the kitchen, her belief that feelings mattered more than appearances. "She would have liked Maya too," Edmund says quietly. Downstairs, Maya finds Dominic standing in their kitchen, staring at the space with wonder. "What are you thinking?" she asks. "That I spent 28 years in a mansion and never felt at home. And now we're here, furniture half-assembled, boxes everywhere, and I've never been happier." She moves beside him. "Scared?" "Terrified. We're living on my salary from the tech firm, budgeting groceries, figuring out public schools for Ivy." "Regretting it?" "Not for a second." They kiss, brief and gentle, interrupted by Lucas banging a wooden spoon against a pot, claiming his place in the symphony of their ordinary, extraordinary life. That evening, they order pizza. Edmund stays, sitting cross-legged on the floor because they haven't assembled the dining table. Ivy teaches him Spanish phrases Maya's been teaching her. Lucas smears tomato sauce everywhere. It's messy and imperfect and honest. As fireflies appear in the backyard and Ivy runs to chase them, Edmund catches Dominic's eye. "Thank you," Edmund says, "for not giving up on me. You're trying. That's what matters." Through the window, they watch Maya help Ivy catch fireflies in a jar, Lucas on her hip. 3 broken people and 1 innocent child building something whole from shattered pieces. 6 months pass like breath, steady, essential, unremarkable in the best way. The Westport Colonial transforms from house to home through accumulated moments rather than grand gestures. Ivy's drawings cover the refrigerator in layers, new art taped over old until the metal disappears beneath color. Lucas's first steps happen on a Tuesday afternoon, Maya and Dominic both lunging to catch him while Ivy cheers. The garden they planted together blooms wildly, imperfectly beautiful. Dominic finds his rhythm at the smaller tech firm, coding solutions instead of managing empires. Maya enrolls in community college for early childhood education, attending classes while the children are at school and daycare. An immigration lawyer, paid for quietly by Edmund, his first gesture of support, files the proper paperwork. Maya's status becomes unquestionably legal. They marry on a Saturday in October at Westport Town Hall. The ceremony lasts 7 minutes. Ivy serves as flower girl, scattering petals with fierce concentration. Lucas, now confidently toddling, wobbles down the makeshift aisle with Edmund guiding him. Edmund, who cried when they asked him to participate. The reception happens in their backyard. 30 people, neighbors, Maya's mother visiting from Oaxaca, a few colleagues, Mrs. Chen from the estate. Edmund brings Margaret, a widow he met in the grief counseling sessions he's been attending weekly. She's kind and doesn't try too hard, which everyone appreciates. Edmund's toast surprises them all. He stands with his champagne glass, this billionaire in a rented folding chair, and his voice cracks almost immediately. "I built an empire," he begins, but nearly destroyed my family in the process. I equated providing with loving, control with care. My son had to renounce his inheritance to teach me what actually matters. He looks at Dominic, at Maya, at his grandchildren. They chose each other, despite my opposition. They chose presence over wealth, authenticity over appearances, and somehow, inexplicably, they're still letting me learn how to be part of this. He raises his glass. To families, we build rather than inherit. To second chances we don't deserve, but accept with gratitude. Maya cries. Dominic grips her hand. Ivy claps enthusiastically, not understanding all the words, but sensing the emotion. Lucas demands more cake with toddler insistence. As autumn deepens into early winter, they establish their new tradition. Sunday dinners. Edmund arrives early, bringing ingredients rather than expensive gifts. He's learning to cook, badly, but with determination. Margaret sometimes joins, fitting into their chaos with gentle humor. One Sunday in December, snow falling softly outside, they gather around the table Dominic finally assembled correctly. The meal is simple. Maya's pozole, fresh tortillas, rice pudding for dessert. Charlotte's paintings hang on the walls beside Ivy's newest creations. Photos of Miguel and Eleanor sit on the mantel with lit candles. Edmund helps Lucas with his spoon, patient with the mess. Margaret and Maya's mother compare recipes in halting Spanish English. Ivy, thriving in first grade, reads them a story she wrote about a family of animals who find each other in the forest. After dinner, they move to the living room. The tree stands slightly crooked. Dominic's measuring skills remain questionable, but covered in Ivy's homemade ornaments. Lucas toddles between adults, receiving affection from everyone. Edmund sits on the floor playing blocks, something unimaginable 6 months ago. As evening settles and guests prepare to leave, Maya finds Dominic on the back porch. The night is cold and clear, stars visible despite the neighborhood lights. "We did it," she says, leaning against him. "Did what?" "Built something real, from all the broken pieces." He kisses her forehead. Inside, Ivy's laugh rings out as Edmund lets her win at the card game they're playing. Lucas bangs enthusiastically on his toy drum. Margaret helps Maya's mother with dishes, their conversation a warm murmur. "Not just built," Dominic says, "chosen every single day."